Hello, are you hungry for some absolute light bite bit of football as we talk about the Champions League English clubs coming up? Roll the intro. And here we are, the Absolute Football Podcast, back again for a second time this week. Shah and I are pulling double shifts. So we are here today to give you a very bite size. This is the Absolute Light Bite. So we'll explain to you what the Absolute Light Bite is. It's a very quick discussion topic about something important in the week where you get two of us one-on-one just having a chat. You can have a coffee, you can have a hot beverage, whatever you like. Just sit back and chill. We talk about whatever comes into our minds. So, of course, there's not just me here. There's the wonderful, brilliant, entertaining, fantastic, interesting, brilliant, legendary Charlotte. How are you?
Thank you for that, by the way. My head's got bigger. I didn't think that was possible, but I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too running out of adjectives, so we had to stop and cut it there. But yes, I'm doing very well. It's Thursday already, which I can't believe. It seems like only yesterday we were talking on the first Absolute Podcast, which you can still catch on Twitch and YouTube, of course. We did that on Monday, and it seems like that was only yesterday. And we are here on Thursday. Champions League's gone. There's been so much football since as well. It seems like such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
So we'll move on. Yeah, no, carry on, Shall go.
Yeah, it's just been crazy, and the football and stuff. There's been lots of it, and Champions League as well. I love Champions League. There's just something about it. It's just a different feel. What I love.
It is, isn't it? You just know it's midweek when the lights are down and that music hit. That's the music for me. It's always the music. There's something about that music.
Always.
It does. Tingles your spine. So we'll move straight in. I mean, we'll talk about the Champions League. And so you always loved the Champions League. What's your earliest memory? What do you remember about the Champions League growing up?
Well, I'm going to be honest, and I don't remember the actual the treble, you know, when obviously Manchester United won the Champions League. I don't remember that, like the actual game. But I do remember I had this colouring book, and I will admit I've got my family are all United fans as well, so they bought me a colouring book, and it was like the treble and obviously the Champions League when they won that. So that's the memory I have. But I think the actual game, what I remember the most was when Liverpool made a comeback and obviously won it. I think that's the one where obviously I do remember. What about you?
For me, I remember the treble, of course, and of course we've got one of our friends who's just appeared in the chat as well, Mr. Liverpool fan, our main Absolute Podcast man, Josh, who is a Liverpool fan. So I'm just going to make that disappear now because, of course, the treble happened. I remember the treble. I remember every minute of the treble. I remember a couple of minutes in particular very well of the treble. But my earliest memory probably it's before that. I remember the Juventus sides of the mid 1990s. Alessandro Del Piero and Juventus were an absolute nightmare in that European competition to play against. But they just epitomised what the Champions League was for me, that sort of peak of what you could hit. And until United were trying, and then obviously 1999 happened, and there's nothing like the Champions League. It feels like only yesterday, but I was looking back, that was quite a long time ago. So yeah, that was mine. Juventus, still the old Real Madrid sides, Raul, Ronaldo, yes. Figo, Zidane, classic team Champions League gone by.
Legends.
Of course, we are going to talk about this season's Champions League and what's happening so far. We're halfway through the group stage. Can you believe that? Halfway through the group stage.
Oh, it's absolutely mental, and I just can't believe how quick it's actually going. I mean, we're in October now, and it just doesn't seem like 2 minutes since it started. But obviously, with us in particular as well, like lower league and then obviously Champions League as well, it just seems to have gone so quick. But I think as much as it's been really interesting, we will get the boring game out the way first. So I'm going to start with Spurs because it wasn't a thriller, was it?
Not quite, was it? Antonio Conte is becoming quite predictable for this, isn't he?
Yes, very negative.
He's such a negative manager, and so there's just performance after performance that's just absolutely. It's just absolutely terrible. It's just boring what it is, isn't it? Tottenham fans must be wondering at the minute. Unless they're winning games under this formula, it's not an exciting game of football to watch, surely.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like both teams, even I just feel like both teams on the day, they should both be so frustrated because it was just two teams that it just wasn't going for any of them. But I'll admit, I put the game on and I turned it over because I was so bored. I thought, really? I thought standards are probably better than this. What is going on?
Yeah. You're used to watching the Heights of Rochdale, thinking, I'm not watching this nonsense. At least they have a go. League Two attacking football, that's that. No, I caught bits of it and just, I mean, the interesting thing, they've got to go again, haven't they? Tottenham are in a real kind of questionable position in that group. It's not easy having to now go away to Frankfurt to get a result. And they just seem, it's always hard coming off of a derby loss, as I can attest to kind of turn that round. And it just, they were even more flat than usual. And they just added a lot of pressure to themselves. So, and they got Brighton at the weekend too. So Conte needs to turn something around now, I think. The noises aren't good, are they?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't feel like they're getting the best out of the players as well. And especially Son, apart from obviously that day when it came on and was an impact sub and he scored that hat-trick, I just don't feel like it's going for him at the minute. And yeah, especially when you've got Kane and Son and Richarlison as well. I think I only remember the Richarlison and Kane chance. I saw them, but apart from that, I cannot remember Spurs actually like having a decent chance or attack. I just feel like they were very flat.
I think it's surprising, isn't it? Because I don't know what you thought when they bought Richarlison over the summer. I'm thinking, well, there's another part of their armory that they're going to add to and attack in different kind of ways at times, and they just seem to be a lot more passive. And Son's just gone completely off the boil, isn't he, from what we saw last season?
Yeah, I don't get it. And especially when you look, the front threes, obviously, Richarlison, Son and Kane. So you think automatically you've definitely got goals there. But I don't know if it's Conte's style of play or whether, like we were saying about Son, whether it's something to do with Son or whether they just don't like the football they're playing. But I think they definitely need to change something because it's not going well at all. Premier League and obviously Champions League now.
No. It's not working, as we said. They have a difficult result in Frankfurt. They've got a real problem on their hands. I just wonder with Son, and there's a few players I thought this about. The World Cup in the winter is surely on a lot of players' minds. Son's obviously huge for South Korea, as he is for Spurs, and it's almost a case of get the work done and then we'll see where we're at the season, it seems. I mean, I don't think players look that way and do, I'm sure that they're focused on what they're doing, but you can't help but have one eye on what's coming up. Van Dijk's another one for Liverpool. He's never done a major tournament for Netherlands. It's got to be in the back of their mind, surely.
Yeah, of course. And I just feel like as well, maybe, obviously, I know you can get injured any game, but maybe they're afraid to like get injured. Maybe they're afraid to go that bit too far and then they miss out on the chance at the World Cup. And yeah, I'm not too sure what it is, but I just really think Spurs need to change it, whether that is Conte, that is the problem, whether it's obviously the style of play, whether they're not used to that. I just really don't know, but we definitely need to change something. But exciting times. Manchester City 5-0. We both had it on Super 6.
We did. Double 5 pointer. Absolutely. Result on the card.
What do you think about Haaland?
We were both absolutely pleased to get 5-0. I'm just running out of things to say about him. I mean, it's already, already in October, and it's just every step that you take with him, it's another couple of goals. It's just adding to ridiculous records all over the show. And probably the worrying thing is Pep took him off at half time. So best of luck Southampton at the weekend, because they get a fully fresh Erling Haaland coming at them. So I mean, that is hide behind your sofa stuff. It's very, very, very scary. But of course, we've got, we are live on Twitch at the moment and on YouTube. If you're listening to this on audio, you can join us in the comments. So thank you, old man River. Join us for this time this week and enjoying the podcast. So thank you for being with us. Even if Manchester City are scoring far too many goals, in my opinion. But I mean, Erling Haaland aside, Manchester City, the rest of that team as well, Charlotte, fairly. I mean, they made some changes too, a couple of youngsters coming in. Do you think this is their year?
Do you know what? I've got a really good feeling when it comes to Manchester City, and I think they have been close, like season after season. They've come so close, and obviously they're doing well in the Premier League. They've obviously won the Premier League, but I think Erling Haaland, with his experience in the Champions League and just him as a whole, just in general, I think he might be the missing piece to the jigsaw, and maybe it could be their year, because I just think him in general is unstoppable, and obviously injuries could be a massive difference to obviously Manchester City and Haaland getting injured. But I think if he can stay fit and the team we've got now, I think it'll be a massive difference and they could potentially win it.
I think so. They got close, and if you look at last season where it fell apart, that Real Madrid where they just kind of turned, and it's almost like that's been so much in Pep's thinking in his other transfers. Kelvin Phillips is kind of one I think he was thinking in a game like that, be more pragmatic. We've not seen him because he's got injured, but I just feel that Haaland takes those games away before the other team get the chance to get back in it. I think so. City don't lose that game last season, and then you look around and who else is going to stop them, because Liverpool aren't kind of where they were. You've got Real Madrid is still strong, but City just look all round. Just look unstoppable. But I've got to agree with Old Man River here in the comments that a petition to have Haaland deported is sounding like the only hope for Premier League defences at the moment. Oh dear, it's going to be very difficult to stop him. Absolutely very difficult to stop him. So City, I think, nailed on to qualify. Shah, no shocks there.
Yeah, I reckon both them and Borussia Dortmund as well, because obviously they're doing well. Jude Bellingham is doing, for such a young lad as well, I think he's doing wonders at Dortmund. So I think those two are 100% nailed on to qualify.
Yeah, I'd agree. What I like about Bellingham is how much of a leader he is in that team already at just 19. He sort of stepped up and, is he captain now? They give him the armband. He's so key to that team so early on. So is he another one ending? I know there's links and rumours with Liverpool seem to be the main one, but they can't pick him up as well, surely.
Honestly, if they do, they will be unstoppable even more. But Alvarez as well, it reminds me very much of an Aguero. Like, I just think I've not really seen much of him as well, but the things I have seen, it really does remind me of Aguero. And I think even if obviously I'm hoping nothing happens to Haaland because he's so good to watch, just from a neutral point of view, but I think he could be vital as well, Alvarez. I really do. And he obviously got a goal last night too.
He's that perfect on it. They've always had it, haven't they? They had it with Jesus a little bit, and Edin Dzeko used to be that to Sergio Aguero. Could come in at points, give him a little bit of a break. I think Sergio Aguero always felt a little bit brittle, like there was a big injury in him, where Erling Haaland he's made of some kind of element that the periodic table hasn't found. I don't think that you could. Someone said to me at the weekend, maybe they needed Roy Keane to come on and tackle him like he did all those years ago. So I don't think it would matter. It bounced off of his knees. There's just the guy's made of absolute steel. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But I think, going back to Alvarez, to have that coming through in the team, that kind of backup is where you see that in depth. When you get to the later Champions League games, they're in the FA Cup. Like, there's games all over the place of the Premier League that we've still got to catch up on because of the Queen. They're going to need him. Yeah,
I completely agree. And it's good as well to see other goal scorers contributing. I know obviously Haaland, but obviously we saw Foden in the Premier League. We've obviously seen Mahrez last night. So it's not, even though it is Haaland scoring, you've obviously got the other people contributing as well.
Yeah, it's a worry. And so going from someone who's absolutely firing to someone who's stuttered so far, but trying to find their feet in Liverpool. What did you make? I say Liverpool versus Rangers, 2-0 victory for Liverpool, and they're starting to get their Champions League momentum going a little bit. But what did you make of that? Rangers would have got closer. Were you expecting more from that?
To be fair, I always expected Liverpool to win the game, but I kind of thought Rangers would give a bit more. And I don't know if it was because obviously Liverpool in the Champions League and obviously they were just better, but I just expected a bit more from Rangers.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think they've really disappointed in the Champions League. They've obviously lost a bit of their spark. They've not been as quite effective in the Scottish League. They got pumped by Celtic as well, and I just think it's just completely killed their confidence. Because I looked at that and thought, oh, more the second leg, the one at Rangers. I think both Scottish teams have two of the most fantastic atmospheres in world football. So the atmosphere alone will be buzzing, but Liverpool at this moment in time, if you can't get anywhere near them, you're never going to get anywhere near them. So I think it was for Liverpool, a good confidence builder, For Trent, I know there's been a lot of issues, question marks over him defensively and what he's doing, but for him to stick a free kick into the top left-hand corner will certainly just make him take the pressure on of other things that have been happening and make him feel a bit better. So I thought Liverpool were better. Do you think we're going to stay best to Salah as well?
Yeah, I think the problem with Salah is obviously straight away you've lost Mane, and he was obviously vital. Nunes is obviously I can't speak. Nunes has obviously come in, but I feel like Salah obviously is playing a bit more. I feel like he's playing a bit more deeper than he should be, and he's been tracking back more, and he's not really been able to be the Mo Salah that we actually know. And I'm hoping, obviously, just from a neutral point of view, that the Champions League win will give them a boost. And obviously, we can see more of the Liverpool that we do know. But obviously, like we mentioned with the World Cup, there's certain players who might have that at the back of the mind. And that game in general, and from a Rangers perspective as well, I just feel like maybe the Europa League last season, that kind of might have knocked their confidence, because I think, did you get to the final, Rangers? They lost in the final.
They made the final, yeah. Yeah. And I'm wondering to make that final as well. It's almost kind of burnt out a little bit start of this season to go again. Maybe there's a bit of that too.
Yeah.
So I just, it's a shame, and hopefully they can put in a good performance at Ibrox to at least give, I think, the fans something. They've been looking forward to being back in the Champions League for so long, and Liverpool being able to will be so good. But I think Liverpool are now on the path to qualify. I mean, looking at the other result in the group, which was unbelievable, Napoli went and scored 6 against Ajax in Amsterdam. Having already beaten Liverpool so far. I mean, Napoli have got to be one of the best starters this season in all the European leagues, really. Them and Napoli have been fantastic. So they're already pretty much there. You've got to think now Liverpool will join them and get stronger through the season, because the Champions League probably realistically already represents a better chance of a trophy than the Premier League, with how City have started and how far Liverpool are away.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
And they're probably one of the only ones in their form that could stop Manchester City, which is horrible for me to think. The only team that could stop Manchester City would be Liverpool, as a Manchester United fan. But being realistic, that's probably what we're looking at. To see. So I've got another horrendous April and May coming, I'm sure. So I'll enjoy the World Cup while it lasts, while none of these teams are winning. Well, of course, it wasn't the only English side in. We'll go to the last one that we haven't covered as of yet. In Chelsea, under Graham Potter, are slowly starting to build some confidence and get some victories. 3-0 over at AC Milan, which was very important because they hadn't won at all. They lost, they'd drawn one and lost one in their first 2 games under real pressure in that group. Red Bull Salzburg had already won earlier in the evening against Marseille, wasn't it? So they were, under pressure. I thought, against AC Milan. Milan's team was, they lost a lot of players. There was a few out injured. They didn't really have their first 11 out. And Tomori didn't have the best of games back on his home ground for Chelsea. But 3-0 for Fofana scoring, going off injured, which will be a shame for them. Potter's starting to instill some confidence.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I actually didn't expect Chelsea to win. And as much as obviously it's good to see the English clubs, I just thought the very inconsistent Chelsea. And I've said on previous, when I've spoke to previous people, I've said I don't know about Graham Potter, obviously, in the Champions League, because he's had no experience. So for me, it was a really big surprise, but I'm happy for Chelsea. And yeah, just unfortunate with Fofana obviously going off. It looks like quite a bad injury as well. But yeah, Aubameyang, I think he was on the score. Was he on the score? scoring
was
as
again,
well. So,
another one for Aubameyang, yeah.
Hitting a bit of form.
Starting to put it together as well, weren't they? And it's going to take some time. I think the time Potter had with them while there was kind of the break off of games would have really helped. And they're still not out of the woods because 4 points, they've got to go to Milan. If Milan can put a better team together, they've still got to go to Salzburg as well. So Chelsea just seem like, remember the 2 times that Chelsea have got to the final, won the Champions League, has kind of been, they've been terrible in the part of the season and then started slowly to be an absolute disaster in the cup competitions. Are we seeing the same? I mean, maybe they're the ones to stop Manchester City.
Yeah, and I just feel like as well with Graham Potter, you can't really write him off because obviously he did wonders at Brighton, but now he's actually got the money, he's got the resources and stuff. So I just feel like maybe he could be the man for Chelsea. Even though he's not obviously a big standout name, he's done it at a lower, I don't want to say, obviously, I don't want to compare them, but obviously Chelsea are a bigger club and they've obviously got finances behind them. So I just feel like with him, maybe he could do wonders at Chelsea because he's done it with Brighton. So I think he could be one to watch.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that he might be the case that he's going to be definitely one to watch coming through, and start to become that big name. I think the start at Chelsea's looking good. He had a real good run at Brighton, and deserved the opportunity to see what he can do. And he's now testing in the Champions League. So there's no bigger competition. And maybe in a few years, we'll start talking about Potter in those kind of remits of the top of the league, rather than constant kind of foreign manager inputs. It would be nice to see an English manager rise through from a lower level up to a higher level to kind of at least set the path maybe for others to do it. That's kind of what we want, isn't it? Someday someone's got to take over from Gareth Southgate, and it looks like that might be quite soon. So
yeah, 100%. And I just feel like as well, what they need to do, they need to give him time. And obviously, I feel like with under Abramovich, maybe he wouldn't get the time, but hopefully from these new owners who have come in, he will get the time and slowly build more of like a project kind of thing. And I just hope he's not like a little fish in a big pond, like obviously David Moyes at Manchester United. I'm just hoping, because I do really like Graham Potter, I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that he can do it and they do give him the time.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't want to see him kind of be in a year's time just sort of discarded away, and then he's got to kind of rebuild himself. That's the hope after what he's done to get there. You don't want to see that kind of happen. So, but I think Chelsea look good. So I guess to wrap up our Champions League section, of the 4 English teams, Sharp, who's qualifying for the last 16?
Well, you've got to go Manchester City. That's a given. Yeah, Liverpool as well. I think they'll 100% qualify. And do you know what? I'm going to back all 4 of them. I think Tottenham and Chelsea may struggle a bit compared to the other teams, but I'm going to go for all 4 of them. I'm confident. What about you?
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. I think, having seen last night and seeing how Chelsea dealt with Milan, I think they could do the same out there. I think they could get a result out there. Tottenham's the one I worry about going. Well, I don't worry about, but the one that I think will be a concern for them away in Frankfurt, that they might get unstuck potentially, and they might have an issue. So out of the 4, I'd say they're the ones I think are probably most at jeopardy. But no, I agree with you. I think it will be all. And Manchester City is still kind of my tip, I think, to win it. So there we go. So for today, that's it. This is our absolute light bite. So it's a quick chat. It's gone very fast. We were sort of discussing beforehand. This is our first format of this show. How quick it was going to go, and it doesn't seem like 25 minutes has flown by. And here we are. We've discussed it through and in the Champions League. So we've gone quick. You can of course catch the Absolute Football Pod. If you haven't caught our Monday episode, please check it out. Twitch and YouTube will be back on there on Monday again at 8:00. The rest of the team hopefully will be about. I think at the minute Josh and Luke are not talking to each other because you're a Liverpool fan and an Arsenal fan, and they're both in their separate camps ready for the weekend. So, but back by Monday, they'll be cuddling again, and we'll be able to have a chat about all the weekend's football. So, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for joining Charlotte. Charlotte, where can we catch you on your socials?
Yes, well, I'm most active on Twitter with my army, as everyone says, the Shah army.
Yeah.
I know. I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Shah X RAFC. That's where you can find me.
Perfect, excellent. And everybody do that, because Shah does some wonderful stuff on all the socials, as do the rest of the team. Well, so check them out. Check out Lucas on Crab Dribble. Check out Josh on FMFO across all the socials. Myself, you can find on Up the FM Ducks on Twitter. I have a website, upthefmducks.com, and at the moment on YouTube, I'm looking ahead to the World Cup, doing sort of country by country a little review. I've had to start now because I've realised there's 32 teams and it takes quite a long time. So I'm not quite in the World Cup mood, but I've had no choice but to start now. But for now, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate you and everything you do. And will you catch us on Monday? Absolutely. See you later.